Hello everyone, and welcome back to another Dragon Ball Legends video. My name is DFree. Here today, we're going to go ahead and cover up some of the confusion that has come out as it pertains to the new units and the release order of new units and things of that nature. Also, we're going to talk about the Goku Black and future Gohan. Obviously, that's more of what I meant. We're going to talk about just different things. Also, go over some of those translations from the V-Jump a few days ago in case anybody missed my initial video and things of that nature. So I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Of course, hit the subscribe if you're new for more content. And let's go ahead and get into it. So the first thing I want to do before we get into the new information that came out last night is I want to clear up a couple of misconceptions with the V-Jump, and also we're going to talk a little bit about what those characters do, like I mentioned. So here's the V-Jump scan. So as you see, we have a transforming future Gohan. We also do have a Goku Black. The first misconception I want to clear up is this one right here. This man is not a Legends Road unit, even though it says this. This is an arrow pointing to the next page, in which the next page is a page that features, it's a whole page all about all of the Legends Road units. He is not a free unit. He is a summonable unit. And I tried to make that point in my initial video, but I guess I didn't say it as clearly. I don't know. But people were still kind of confused about that. But again, it says Legends Road there, basically telling you to flip the page to get more information on some of the Legends Road stuff. And again, there is that other scan. It's a full page of all of the Legends Road units. So he is not a Legends Road unit. He is a banner unit. Another thing I want to mention is this is an Ultra Space Time Summon banner. This is not anything else. And for the record, just when it comes to V-Jump, majority of the time, it's always, every time they show new units in V-Jump, it's always going to be an Ultra Space Time banner. In fact, they literally say in the translation for this, by the way, that it is Ultra Space Time, but just for the record, any confusion, it is going to, majority of the time, because it has been, based on pattern, be an Ultra Space Time Summon banner, just to, again, clarify on that, because even when it came down to it, I saw people questioning whether it's going to be like Legends Road, or not Legends Road, excuse me, Legends Rising, or something like that, and it's important to note that it's Ultra Space Time, because that gives us a couple of indicators. For one, it is not the next banner that is coming out. The next banner that is coming out should be dropping probably tonight, right after maintenance, which is the Trunks and Android 13 one, which we're going to talk about in just a moment. But generally, the next Ultra Space Time Summon banner comes up on the game as an option to summon on the week before the previous one expires. If you look at the previous one, which is the Vegeta, Transforming Vegeta, the Android 14 and 15, I believe, that one will be expiring in literally 2 weeks. So next week, early next week, at some point, we will be getting this other Ultra Space Time, because they're always generally there, again, for at least a week together. That's how this pattern goes. So to reiterate, not a Legends Road unit, not a free unit. This is an Ultra Space Time banner, which does mean if you can get lucky enough, because they've played with the rates and stuff like that, as far as, now I don't want to say played with the rates, that's not the right word, not the right phrase, I don't want anybody to run with that. They've added more units to the pool, thus diluting the rate of pulling the new units from the Ultra Space Time Summon tickets. So you guys will be getting those, of course. Like, if you can get lucky enough, you can do that. Also, obviously, dailies will be a thing, your daily 20 single, whatever that is, right? So that being said, that'll be an option for you too. So again, different banner. So let's talk about something a little bit different though. We're finally getting Legends Rising Volume 8. This is actually interesting because I've made this point in numerous videos that there are actually a couple of different banner styles in the game. As you guys know, there's the Legends Rising variants, which can include various things. Like, if we go ahead and take a look at some of the banners, in fact, the Legends Rising variants generally include stuff like, oh, Legends Rising explicitly, or like Legends Step Ups. These are characters that you generally will not see on the Ultra Space Time Summon banners. But what they will do is they'll come back and create like a Legends Hybrid banner, for example, that features characters that are actually between both pools. But the Ultra Space Time Summon units, like all of these units on the left side of the screen, are Ultra Space Time, and then this Gohan here is actually a Legends Rising unit. So they do that from time to time, but it's important to specify that as well, because what that means is, again, he's probably not going to be in the general pool anytime soon. In fact, if we take a look at the most recent Ultra Space Time Summon, there's a number of units in here. Obviously, these units are new units, and we go ahead and scroll down. These are all older units, and I don't believe any of the most recent units are in this pool list, simply because the Goku, Blue, the Vegeta, those units are actually Legends Rising. They're not because it wasn't called that, but I'd categorize them as such, right? Because they're in that same pool. They'd return with units like that, right? And then, of course, there's the Legends Limited units, which is a whole other thing. So anyways, keep that in mind too. But this is a Legends Rising Volume 8 banner, right? Again, they're not called Legends Risings, just for the matter, but I do categorize them together because that's the way that the units are bunched up, pretty much. Anyways, so Trunks is coming. that means that you guys will have to pull on this banner. In fact, for the matter, what was the last Legends Rising overall banner for the matter? We had these reruns. Legends Rising 1, 2, 5, 6. Where's 7? Where's Legends Rising 7? Let me do this. Legends Rising. Oh, okay. So 7 was this one. Oh, okay. Gotcha. Okay. And like Rising Girls is a variant of Legends Rising. Stuff like that, right? So this one was the last one. Wow, it's been a while. It's been a few months. Okay. Not bad. So Legends Rising number 8. A couple of things I want to mention as it pertains to this one. Shout out to Bebop. He did actually point this out on Twitter. I saw the post saying that this Trunks has a double-sided icon, and that is actually different. That means that he is most likely going to have a timed transformation, whether it's timed or it's behind some sort of other mechanic, but he does go back to normal. He does not stay transformed no matter what happens. He's going to basically be in a scenario where he can potentially go back to normal, so that's important to note. He's also a purple unit. Yesterday I heavily theorized he could be a yellow unit, and I thought that yellow would be a good color for the Vegeta family to pick up, but I tell you what, I don't really have a problem with purple either. If he is a purple ability booster for the Vegeta family tag as well, because they don't really have that. They need every option they can possibly get, so it's not a bad thing, right? For the record, I do think he's going to be a Vegeta family booster, and then maybe potentially hybrids, but honestly, I don't think hybrids is going to happen post 5-star, but we'll see what happens. But again, not bad, but he does also have, there's also blue Vegeta over here, so little things like that. But regardless, having access to red, blue, and purple, you do have a little bit of color counter in there and just things of that nature. So it works out pretty well ultimately. You have the purple unit to cover for the blue unit here, and then the purple unit itself, the Trunks, can be covered for by the red Vegeta. So they're kind of building this out a little bit piece by piece. So you have to kind of take advantage of that as well while you have the opportunity to. But again, I do think Trunks will be interesting because he can go back to normal. So that remains to be seen how he functions. And also, I do want to point out, I'd be remiss to mention that, you know, he is going to buff hybrids. I think hybrids is in a really weird spot because we do have access to the family teams. And if you look at hybrid Saiyans, for example, their best variant is actually Sun Family. Like, it's weird, so I don't know what they're going to do with that, but he will nonetheless be a hybrid Saiyan unit, regardless of whether or not he actually buffs that group of units themselves. So Android number 13 wound up being a blue unit. Now, this is actually very, very good because the fact of the matter is when it came to the Android tag, they needed options like red and blue units overall. They just simply didn't have that. If we looked at the Android units overall, I can actually pull that up really quickly. They didn't have access to red and blue sparking units. Like, they were in a really weird spot. So when we go over to androids here, they just needed that. Like, this is their Z ability boosters that I generally put the spotlight on, right? So they had that. They do have red and blue sparkings, yeah, but they just weren't what this team really needed anymore, right? So a little bit different. So I'm excited about that. When it came down to him, he is actually going to be a last man standing type unit. So that's one thing I wanted to mention that I mentioned in the previous video. But it's important to remember that as well. He's a blast unit, it seems anyway, but last man standing means whenever your allies are defeated, he's going to be very, very good. And the way that meshes with the Android team is you have access to powerful cover change units, right? Like this Android 17. You have access to cover rescue to where you shouldn't really need that. But if you get in a position where you do, he's going to be very dominant, I think, ultimately. So keep an eye out for him. The only downside is that he is not a transforming unit. I thought that was a missed opportunity because most transforming units in the game are all heroes. I'd like to see more villains, right? And I thought that was a missed opportunity. Like, I'd rather have had that than Trunks personally, but it's cool. So that being said, that does mean, though, in the future, just keep an eye on this, they will come back and drop a Super 13 at some point. I don't know when that would be, but they will do it. And this is not the first time we've seen them hold out a unit and then come back with a better version. For example, they had dropped Perfect Form Cell and then came back with Perfect Cell. I remember at the time, whenever the SS2 Purple Gohan came out, everybody was upset. Oh, wait, this isn't father-son Kamehameha Gohan. Eventually, they did go back and do that. They still haven't done full power Frieza, despite them being in the Buu saga for the most part with a lot of the content that they released, right? And also, they still haven't done... no, they did go back and do Kaioken Goku after a period of time. Skyler Vegeta, another variant of... just like stuff like that. They go back from time to time and kind of cover some of their P's and Q's. So they will ultimately come back and do that. Personally, I think... I don't like having multiple options, right? As far as like, I'd rather have just had it been one card. But on the side note, I do think it's not a bad thing in particular that they split the unit, because that gives you another unit you could potentially run on the team, right? Having more options overall is pretty good in my opinion. So that's what would ultimately wind up happening there. So again, just to kind of come back to this, I didn't really cover the translations for this ultimately, so we're going to just cover the translations for this and call it a day. Anyways, if you guys have made it to this point, by the way, thank you for the support. I appreciate it. Let's go ahead and go over some of the translations here. So shout out to my friend Ran. He did give me these translations. I'm going to go ahead and explain what he's meaning, what he's saying as far as this is concerned. Again, this was in my initial video about a week ago now. If you guys didn't see that, you can also check it out. Link will be down below where I go into a little bit more detail. Anyways, the Gohan is a transforming unit, as you guys saw. He can force an enemy to swap, and the swap will remain in the subs for a long time. So what that means is that he can force swap, like a la like a Broly card. Most of the Brolys can do something. Well, a couple of the Brolys can do something like that, right? He can force the swap, and then when he forces a swap, their sub count actually goes up, so they can't come back in for a period of time longer. I'm guessing that's probably going to be +2 or +3. If they really want to make it broken, they'd make it +5, because every timer count actually counts, man. You can't have +5 on your units, especially if that somehow, it could potentially, especially if that stacks with like cover change, because cover change in most cases gives you like +2, 3, 4, 5, or whatever it is, right? On your unit anyway. So you're already at a disadvantage for utilizing cover change. Like for example, we can actually pull up a unit that does cover right here. +3 to own sub count. Like this goes up. Like you can, if it stacks, you know what I'm saying? Like that's gonna be insanely broken. So stay tuned for that. Goku Black, blast damage is cut when cover change. So Goresh actually clarified this to me. Ran, excuse me, actually was saying this, but it seemed like he was saying when the unit is switching in on a blast, he takes reduced damage. It still remains to be seen, I guess, but Goresh was saying that he does it just on anything, and there's no blast focus. So keep in mind that the Goku Black could have just overall cover change, and since he has cover change, I'd argue he's probably just a defense type unit for the matter. He is skilled at a counter style fight. So that was saying ultimately that Goresh was thinking that he does have a counter, but it doesn't explicitly say he has a counter. That's not really what it's saying. It's more or less like a praise about what the character can do, but it doesn't really say that he has a counter. Counter battle style is his forte, or things of that nature are equivalent statements, right? That's all that there really is, and also does mention at the bottom that it is, if you go ahead and show the second page about Legends Road units, which I talked about, and it also is an Ultra Space Time summon. Again, so ultimately that's it. These characters right here should be coming out tonight, I imagine. Maintenance, yeah, tonight, definitely after maintenance, these characters, this banner will come out. It doesn't appear that there are any new EX characters, because I guess they would normally put them here if I recall correctly. That doesn't appear to be the case. Other than that, next week, the next banner, and about, what's today? Tuesday, yeah, probably about a week from today, to be honest, is when we would wind up getting the Ultra Space Time Summon banner. So if you guys want to allocate some of your resources to that, of course, or save or skip this banner, that would be a good idea if you want to actually go for the Goku Black. But again, with the Goku Black, you have a little more flexibility, assuming they don't make the grind super hard behind a stupid star event. You can actually go ahead and do your ticket summon. So ultimately, hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Hit that thumbs up if you guys did. Hit that subscribe if you were new. If you are hyped for Trunks, let me know in the comment section down below what you hope he can do. As far as what we've seen in the post, I didn't really cover that in this video. If you're hyped for the other banner, which one do you want? Gohan, or do you want access to a Goku Black? Have an awesome day. By the way, I want to mention this. When it comes to Goku Black, I mentioned how they hold stuff out. They're doing it again. Expect them to reuse characters. This game has an expected lifespan of a few years at least, so they're going to do it from time to time, and they're doing another base Goku Black. They tried to switch it up with Gohan a little bit, making him a transforming unit. It's going to happen. Eventually, they'll come back into a Rose. He could potentially be base. I don't know. And base into transformation. We'll see. But just keep that in mind, guys. Have an awesome day, and I'll catch all of you in the next one.